So a friend of mine asked me about cornering in a bunch. What's the ideal placement for safety, advantage, and efficiency? So when it comes to those tight corners, when you're in a race, things can get pretty hectic up front. You always got guys fighting for the front, and you constantly have to maintain your position because guys are going to come past you all the time. So what you have to do is you always got to go with the lines of riders that come past you to the front, and that's how you save the most energy to get closer to the front. And that's the ideal position to be when you're in a race, when you're doing those tight corners or doing those corners where there's huge accelerations out of the corner. Always be within the first 5 to 10 riders. Now this is the ideal placement for advantage, safety and efficiency. And the reason for that is if you're a little bit further back, and obviously you're saving as much energy as possible, whereas if you're just at the second wheel, the rider in front of you, then you're not going to be saving as much energy as you could. So always be in the first 5 to 10 riders, and that way you can also follow all the attacks that go, because they usually do come from the first 5 to 10 riders. They don't usually come all the way from the back of the bunch because it really takes a lot of energy to attack so far back. It's always better to attack in the first 10 to 20 riders. So they will come from a little bit behind you, but that's okay. You just, as soon as you see that person in your peripheral vision, you just get on that wheel as soon as possible so you can respond effectively to that attack. Now there are exceptions to this. Sometimes in a criterium, if you want to create a tactical move, then you can go all the way to the front of the bunch, and just as you take that corner, then you can attack, and then the riders behind you will have to put in a huge effort to get across to your wheel because you snap that elastic, because it's always an elastic that snaps if you do a really hard effort out of a tight corner in a criterium. So in another scenario, that'll work well too. But obviously you don't want to be sitting at the front of the bunch all the time. You want to time it so that just as you're going around that corner, you're at the front and you're ready to fucking go 1,200 watts out of that corner. So that's the ideal position for safety, advantage and efficiency. So stay at the front and race from the front.